Okay, I'm back with Game 3 of this series, Rocks vs. Jin Air. That occurred in Week 9, the final week of LCK. I apologize, I'm using a different mic, so it's going to sound a little bit different than the previous two videos. Let's jump right into it, so we can get it done quick. Galio Bang comes out against Jin Air. Jin Air used that last game on the blue side, so they want to target that and make sure that Jin Air isn't able to create a comp that they can out-tempo the game with. The Swain is banned out on the red side as is standard. Let me go ahead and switch the color here. The Chaya banned out, average S tier, another S tier ADC goes away. It's interesting to watch LCK because not a lot of the options that have been appearing in other regions, especially against the China combo, have really reached Korea, or at least reached Korea in the sense that they're able to abuse them other regions Gangplank returns as a first phase ban, and Olaf is banned. This is leaving Skarner open, so this is I believe they did this in game 1. Where they left Skarner open, but Skarner got moved back towards the right side. Rox is going to go ahead and hit the Skarner, so there's no counter, at least not in the jungle, which means that the average response will be Tom Kench, assuming that Jin Air wants to prioritize that, which I believe they will. They'll probably go with Tom Kench jungle. Tom Sejuani is probably their strongest response. However, there are a few other junglers on the table that could provide a pretty good team comp, such as Zach or Sejuani being hover. This worked for their last game, so they wanted to work this game. If this isn't a Tom Kench, I'll be a little confused. However, I won't be mad if it's a Scion. The Scion flex pick, even though it is a little bit nerfed in the patch 8.5. Is still really strong as a mid-top flex. So this is leaving the Tom Kench open, so Rox can take the Tom Kench in order to deny it from Jin Air, but it looks like Jin Air is actually bringing up a heavy tank comp anyway. And if Jin Air doesn't pick one of their carries, such as the EDC in the next pick, they'll be at risk to get the strongest carries on the board pinched out away from them. So the Karma comes up. That's definitely a flex. It's either going to be controlling bottom lane or it's going to be in response to the Scion, as it cannot push the Scion. And they also pick Caitlyn. So they're either guaranteed a strong mid lane that can push, and that's the support for the team, so they can rely on the Caitlyn, or they're just going to leave it in the bottom lane with the Caitlyn and then take it as a winning bottom lane. Responses to that, maybe Jin. There's also Ezreal. However, there's not too many other ADCs that can play in Caitlyn. However, Jinx is a very good choice. Jinx, level 5 rockets actually reached 710 range, so she is a good choice. The other choice that I would have considered is Kog'Maw. However, he is a little bit hard to pull off, but with this heavy front tank, or this heavy front line, and 2 tanks in the first 2 picks, Kog'Maw is a pretty safe pick. However, if you are going to pick the Kog'Maw, they would probably want to pick Tom Kench here and see if the Kog'Maw makes it through to the next rotation, which it may or may not, depending on, because I didn't watch last week's Korea mostly. I do not know what they're prioritizing in bans, but if Kog'Maw is something that they do have in the ban in second rotation, and maybe that's why they opted for the Jinx now, as it's a little bit safer than the Kog'Maw, but it still provides the same function. And then Camille's taken off the table, so they don't have something to play in this Scion. If Scion wants to go top lane, Thresh is going to be taken off the table so that he can't swing some of the pressure in this bottom lane that could be possible from Rox. Gnar is taken off the table, so they banned both the major carries that you would normally play into Scion. The other 2 champions I can really think of that you would want to play are Darius and why can't I think of it? Rumble. Rumble is very good in that matchup. And can provide for a really strong team comp. Ozzy's also taking up the table, but Jin Air is going to say, okay, we're going to hold our flex pick until the last pick, that's their strongest, and we're going to pick the Braum here, which is going to be really, really safe. So now they have triple front line, they're going to be looking for something that's really strong in mid lane. So if they can run Cassiopeia, that's going to be super good. Ziggs, although I'm not sure if Ziggs has really played that much in Korea. Zera is a possibility. Anything with range and damage, absurd range and absurd damage. So they pick Ornn just in case that they decide to take the Sai on top. I don't really like this. I think Shogun is a better pick. However, the Ornn does provide them with the engage. Although, I think Shogun is a better pick overall because it's been really good Baron secure. But it makes it really hard. But it makes it really hard because they'd have to pick primary engage. Like if they pick Shogun here, they have to lock an Alistar. But with the Ornn here, they actually are opened up to this Lulu. They can play range support or support that has other options. Anyway, now that they see that the Karma is mid, they're going to contest that push with a possible Talia, which is a pretty good pick of the Karma because she not only contests the push but has better roaming potential because Karma generally wants to push and roam, but Talia can deny that and she can roam more quickly. So let's go ahead and break this down a little bit more. Let me move their channels around so that I can...
Tengo demasiadas sombrillas, tenía como 9.
Okay, so in general will have to push in this lane, and there really won't be a CS differential. CS null is going to be in this top lane. Really, it's just going to be a farm fest. The only thing that I can see happening is the junglers coming top to try and swing the lane into one of these two champions' favor, which is more beneficial to the Ornn because he doesn't really need to back so much. It's not as beneficial to the Scion who doesn't really care. And neither of these champions contest a split push threat until they have Banner of Command. So until that point, it really doesn't matter, and that definitely won't be their first item. At least Sejuani has the pressure and counter gank against Garner with the ultimate, but Garner is going to want to counter gank early, and that way he can get ahead of Sejuani, he can get his ult before Sejuani, and possibly swing some other lanes before Sejuani can do that. Garner will definitely be putting pressure into the mid lane and the bottom lane, just because two immobile carries are going to be on the side of Jin Air, which is going to be really, really difficult to play against Garner with. As for the mid lane, this is going to be a really contested push. I doubt there will be a more CS differential, so we're going to say CS null again. But in the bottom lane, CS is going to drift towards the side of Caitlyn and Lulu, just because their range support is going to benefit early in this matchup. Remember, Braum, any tank support is not going to be that tanky in the very early, except maybe Leona. And because of Caitlyn's range in the early being already at 650, she can take control of this lane. So we might see CS plus 10 at 10, which is very possible for this lane, but it still favors Jinx in the late game. As far as later win conditions, they're contesting this possible. They're contesting a 1-3-1, which is possible. Or a possible 4-1 siege, because Karma Caitlyn is a really good siege. It's just that their siege is not very good unless Ornn is there, so Ornn has to push the lane more down for them, because Garner's not really a primary tank, and Lulu isn't really going to provide enough for them to duel, assuming they get engaged on by Sejuani, and then there's follow-up from Braum and Sion. However, these two carries will not be doing a whole lot of damage. Talia kind of relies on a lead, and Jinx relies on at least two items, but is more reliable the more items she gets. However, Caitlyn is also someone who is very strong in early, not so strong in mid unless she's ahead, relies on lead in mid, but ends up after 3 items being extremely strong. You might see rapid fire, you might see just standard crit build on both these ADCs. In the long run, the team comps benefit Jin Air, just because the Talia ult is going to be on a smaller cooldown than these teleports, and because it is on a smaller cooldown, they are going to be able to roam over the map faster, and they're going to have more control. And because they have more control, they can make sure that they don't take any fights that they don't want. They can just play very passive and wait for the Jinx to scale and rely on Jinx late game plus 3 tanks, which is very standard, very easy to play. On the other side, Rox has to rely on leads provided by Skarner. Karma is very good while ahead, and Caitlyn's very good while ahead, so they definitely want to play out the early game. The only problem, as I said before, is they need to rely on the Ornn in order to do anything super aggressive. Assuming that if they engaged on without the Ornn, who's the primary tank, they will have no primary tank. It'll be a secondary tank in Skarner. Because he usually rushes Glory, and the secondary tank, he'll probably be turned into a primary tank. So it'll be 2 carries, a normal support who is spending half their abilities into turning their secondary tank into a primary tank. Anyway, well, let's see how this plays out. If Rox can get a big enough early lead, they can win. But eventually, it's going to go into the favor of Jin Air. So it could be a really long game. Looks like I skipped a minute here. Hold on. Okay, now that I've seen, just here, we see that Sejuani starts bottom side and Skarner starts top side. So what this does is Skarner's going to have access to mid and bot from the bottom side and be contesting his bottom lane Scuttlecraft, and we'll see. Actually, he wants to have as much control on the bottom side as possible. He can get early wards and making sure that he sees when Sejuani is down there, because they want to contest that Infernal. Also, it looks like because he started on top side, got through that first, he's probably going to be doing an early clear, full clear, which may benefit him. Sejuani going straight from blue to red means that she'll probably go to raise and then go straight top lane. Or maybe she'll take a break and go get the Scuttlecrab before going top. But it seems like she wants to swing that top lane while she has an opportunity, since it's very difficult for her to access the lanes in the early without her ultimate. Whereas Skarner does have access to mid lane, the only thing he really needs to worry about is the Talia cleanse. That damage on Callista is just no.
Uy, aquí cayeron 3, güey. Uy, pero solo uno tenía alma.
So Grace realizes that Skarner has started his top side, and Skarner actually goes up and gets Scuttlecrab before he heads to the bottom side. This kind of blocks Sejuani off from the top side, and because Talia knows that he was recently on top side, Sejuani goes ahead and says, okay, he probably is going to contest that Scuttlecrab, and I can't contest that Scuttlecrab because we don't win this mid lane 2v2, and I don't believe they win that 3v3 in the top either. So if they actually all converge into the river, if that happened to be a scenario, I believe it favors the Rox Tigers. So they go ahead and they play it safe, and Sejuani moves into the bottom side. Sejuani gets some early cheese onto the enemy ADC, but no kill pressure. Just going to be enough lane pressure to allow Jinx to farm, and might actually swing that CS differential that I expected in the beginning. Sejuani going to return to her blue side jungle. She's a little bit behind on camps. Skarner already level 4, and Sejuani's level 3. But that's not really going to be a big problem unless Skarner starts invading. And because Grace goes ahead and spots out Skarner here, he's going to stop that from happening. Skarner just going to take a quick break and go towards his golems and then probably recall, and he probably wants to return to a lane before he loses that red buff, because he started blue in hopes to clear his jungle really fast.
¡No, es dirigido, hijo de perra!
¿Cómo trabajó?
Con un cohete dirigido. No me fijé que era dirigido, sino si hubiese puesto cubierto.
It's actually, I don't know, hold on, let me count this here. Cyan is down on quite a bit of CS. I'm not sure if he misplayed this, but I don't think that he would normally be that far behind. He's behind 6 at 4 minutes. After the next wave, the maximum farm is at 36, or maybe it's, no, I believe it's 36. It could be 39. Yes, it's 39. Sorry, but he's missed almost 12 farm, which is a problem. He needs to stay even with the Ornn, so Ornn can't constantly have the push. Because when it comes to having the push in top lane here, Ornn benefits from having this push because Ornn has an easier access ganking mid with his ultimate, whereas the Cyan ultimate is not as reliable. The Ornn ultimate providing to be reliable, if Ornn is able to sneak to mid without being noticed, at least until this point where the Wraith entrance is to the red side jungle, then he can definitely get Talia's cleanse or flash for the mid laner for free. It would have been nice for Sejuani to swing top so that Ornn does not have that pathway in the mid game to go to bully the Talia. But it's not necessary as long as Talia plays very safe. Talia just pushing lane as fast as possible. Mid farm is directly even. Bot farm is actually slightly favored in the Jinx's hands, probably due to that early trade that Caitlyn had to take. Because now Caitlyn can't really trade, whereas Jinx still has a pot. And this is also a different factor in which they have a Targon, so Jinx actually has a lot more sustain in the lane, so Caitlyn is no longer allowed to trade in the lane, which means that she is no longer allowed to get as many free auto attacks as she would normally in the early game. Making it very difficult, and that lane state will not change until the first back. And now that Jinx has this advantage, Jinx will want to make sure that they don't back until Jinx wants to, or Jinx will make sure that they are forced to back and they miss a wave. So this is what I was noting earlier. With Ornn having the push in top lane, his ultimate being such a reliable engage tool, Ornn goes ahead and he rotates down the mid unseen, primarily through the river, I believe. And because of this, Skarner uses Predator and cuts off their exit towards the tower, because despite him not having ultimate, he still has flash in his E, which is a stun, and they have enough damage to force flashes. So Jin Air decides to try and move out through the jungle, but they were just a little bit too late. It was a very well executed from absolute maximum range. So Grace now has no solos, which is really, really bad. Because now he can't really leave his tower without being in danger, especially against the Skarner who's going to have Predator, because if Skarner has access to either of these lanes, or to either of the sides of these lanes, then it's going to be difficult for Talia to move past this point in the lane, because if she moves past that, Skarner immediately gets Predator go, because she needs to be into her tower significantly for Skarner to not want to go ahead and just pull her out. And there's going to be a lot of damage on that Karma coming out early, since she's going to be a little ahead, especially with the acceleration that she's going to receive from that first blood. Although Karma is going to be opting into Seraph's Embrace, which is going to delay her from abusing the lane if she wants to. Or I guess it's a possible abusing lane. It's just not. It's not favored for Skarner, because Skarner Skarner wants Karma to have a bunch of burst, so that if he pulls Talia out from under tower, then they can just burst Talia in one hit. But in order for Skarner to actually conditionally make mid, then Skarner is going to have to wait until Karma has proper poke onto Talia, or at least enough damage that they can go down, which is probably going to be 1 mantra Q, or just 2 to 3 Qs. But that damage needs to stick, remember? And Talia has refillable potion, which is going to heal her about 300, which is going to be about as much as 1 mantra Q. So if Karma plays really slow and plays patiently, then they can definitely take this Talia down, which is what they want to do, since it's their easiest pathway. As for the bottom lane, they do have pretty good access onto this Jinx and Braum, but the problem is Jinx and Braum still have Siren, while it's really so much easier for Skarner to just go mid lane and try and pick on this Talia. It's also important for Skarner to try and steal Sejuani's Wraiths as well as contest their blue, since they have the Karma so strong and they win this mid lane 2v2. The problem is whether or not they win this bot lane 4v4 or the 3v3, which may or may not be possible because Jinx has all sums. What's also a problem for Rux right now is that with this Infernal on the table, they need to put a lot of pressure on it in order to take it, as they are already starting. They took out Braum's teleport, so unsuccessful, but Braum, pretty useful. But that's not going to be enough to get this dragon. They need to either kill Talia, which is going to be difficult if she loses her, or if she gets cleansed back, because ideally Skarner wants to go ult Talia and then Karma just presses W while he's ulting and they stack CC. But Talia can just cleanse that second part, so she might be able to get away if she's full health when that starts. Jin Air realizing the window that they have in bottom lane, because bottom lane hasn't backed yet, and they want to invade this red buff. It doesn't really matter who this red buff goes to, it just matters that they deny it from Skarner. Sejuani goes ahead and picks that up, they take the red plant, and they go directly back to bottom lane, and they're going to push in this bottom lane, and they want to force backs. Remember, I talked in one of the previous games about how long bot lane does not back. Because Jinx still has the pressure right now, by a large margin, they definitely don't want to back. They want Caitlyn to back first. They want Caitlyn to lose CS. Remember that they are going to be going to this dragon and contesting this dragon after first back. So they also might want to consider taking the first back, leaving the lane to reset, or missing a few minions in favor of backing first and providing them with a 30-second window to get dragon for free. Just because when Jinx backs and she goes ahead and she buys BF sword and boots and big boards and stuff, then she's going to be ready to take down this dragon just because she has a natural attack speed buff. Right now, she's holding on to about 2,400 gold. So she definitely has enough for tier 2 boots, BF sword, and a pink ward. So they can definitely burst that dragon really quick if they take that first back. It all depends on whether or not they're going to force that. The only thing that they have to worry about is the Karma teleport, but what they should also think about is that they have the Scion teleport very shortly, and the Horn teleport is not up. So they actually have a window in the top lane where they have a teleport. Instead, they're going to force Caitlyn to back anyway, with a smart path in the bot. They had pink wards all throughout here, and it seems like Caitlyn was just not respecting the Fog of War there, so they're going to move on to Dragon immediately and get it before this first back. That really shouldn't have happened. I wouldn't really expect players at this level to not respect the Fog of War like that, but I guess she was getting pretty tilted or something because she wanted to back a long time ago. She goes ahead and she first backs static shift. So just because this is different from the normal build, I would like to speculate that she's building static shift to contest the push in the lane, whereas because after the first back, Jinx is going to contest the push in the lane with rockets, and Jinx is going to be looking for a she may or may not buy immediately, or she'll just go for tier 2 boots and BF sword. Ooh, and she gets a Kerchi shard. That's actually, she's really far ahead now.
Bueno, y nosotros tenemos bazookas.
Okay, so what should be happening right now for Rox? Rox realizing that Fire Dragon was going down. I'm surprised that Skarner didn't just immediately converge onto Rift Herald. They had a pink ward on Ornn. Oh, no, Ornn might have just got that. If they had a pink ward, they could converge on the Rift Herald and trade the Rift Herald for the Fire Dragon, and try and gain some early game tempo, because remember, they want to get an early lead, possibly give that Rift Herald into the bottom lane, give Caitlyn first Blood Tower gold, and then Caitlyn would catch up. And if Caitlyn catches up, then they have control over the game, and they can play around the Caitlyn for the rest of the game, since that's their win condition. But they decided not to do that. Remember, I did note how safe they played and how they didn't want to contest anything that they considered risky or contestable. So they weren't sure if Taliyah was going to back, they weren't sure if Sion was going to come down, and in order to keep Sion in the top lane, Ornn needed to back, and Ornn needed to burn the teleport, because Ornn was losing the lane at that point. But just for that duration, just for that back duration. So after Ornn resets, they could have definitely taken this Rift Herald, because Skarner can solo it pretty easily with his little zones.
¿Qué pasa, loco? No, ¿qué estás usando? Usa esto.
Also because Taliyah went to Dragon in order to secure Dragon, Karma had priority in mid, and Karma could just move up, and they had pink ward in mid, so it would have been perfectly fine for them to go ahead and do that. So Ornn goes ahead and he walks down mid, and he ults Taliyah anyway, even though it's not going to be fruitful, just to be annoying. We're going to see that happen more and more until some of these outer towers get knocked down. It's really just whenever he can push and whenever he has ultimate off cooldown. But remember, the game is definitely favoring Jin Air right now with the Fire Dragon. They're going to be about 1,000 gold up on stats. Not too much. But it's definitely, a lot of those stats are usable. Sion can really use those stats, since his base damages are so high. Sejuani's not really going to use those stats, and Braum's not going to use those stats, but Taliyah and Jinx are definitely going to use those stats very well. So you might see 10 AD on Jinx right now, so like that's 350 gold. You might see, how much AP does she have? Actually, she has like none. She might have like 70. So you're only going to see like 6 AP here. That's 80 gold. And 10 AD on Sion or something like that. Yeah. That's another 350 gold. So really they're only getting like 800 gold out of this Fire Dragon right now. But remember, it's only the 13-minute mark, so it's going to continuously scale.
Todavía un poquito, mira, agarra.
So it's becoming incredibly more important for Skarner to do something. Skarner needs to be proactive in order for Rox to win this game, especially now that they're down a Fire Dragon, since they know that they're going to lose the long game, so they really need to play pre-30 minutes. But the only thing for Skarner to do right now is go bottom lane, because neither of their bottom laners had flash. But Jinx's flash is going to be up in about a minute, and Braum's flash is about to be up. So he's starting to lose that window, and he's losing really every window. We haven't really seen a Skarner ult be fruitful in this game. Actually, I'm not even sure if he has used his Skarner ult this game. And in order for Rox to gain any kind of lead, it needs to be Skarner ult, or it needs to be Sion ult. Sion ult, Ornn ult. Jin Air are going to be converging 4-man on the bottom lane with the Taliyah ult, so they're just going to Taliyah ult and then cut off the tower and possibly get first blood tower. But first they're going to contest this red buff. So this is the second red buff that they're contesting. And remember, it doesn't really matter who gets it, it just matters that Skarner doesn't get it. as they can donate their own buffs to whoever they want. It looks like they're gonna shy away from the dive in bottom lane because they know Skarner's in the bottom side. But they also know that because they took red buff and because they know the Wraiths aren't there, after Skarner clears golems, Skarner's going to do one of two things. Skarner's going to go bottom lane, or he's going to recall and he's going to go top side. Which means that after Talia backs here, Sejuani just stays on bottom side, and Skarner's going to go top side, and what's going to happen is Sejuani can come back bottom side, Talia can contest the push in mid, and then go back bot.
No, no está esa mota. Oh my god. Uy, yo soy gente.
Yeah, there's the Skarner back. He's going to go straight bottom. He's going to go straight top side. What's odd to me here is that Sejuani is actually heading top side. Because it honestly incentivizes Jin Air more for Sejuani to just play bottom side all day. But it looks like she's going top side to contest this possible Rift Herald. Maybe she feels that Rift Herald is the only way for Rock's Tigers to open up the game, so she wants to deny the possibility of getting Rift Herald, and there's only 3 more minutes before that Rift Herald disappears. So they just want to make sure that they have enough control on the top side, so that if they go bottom side at all, the Rift Herald won't be taken. There's an Ocean Drake coming up. The Ocean Drake actually heavily favors the Rock's team comp, because the Rock's team comp is very good for sieging. And anti-siege, whereas the Jin Air comp doesn't really care if they have Ocean Drake or not, but Jin Air is incentivized to take away that Ocean Drake from Rocks. Looks like they're going to have a hard engage onto Skarner. Oh, that was unfortunate. Well, that's going to be free dragon for Jin Air. They could have forced this bottom tower. Like again, this is one of those things where Korea wants to play really slow. They don't really care about forcing things they know they can force. Because look at this, Caitlyn no heal, Karma's in mid lane, Karma wants to recall, Talia can go bottom lane, Sejuani's bot, that's 4v2, they have Sion TP, sure it is an Ornn TP, but that's still 5v3, this turret's free. And if the turret's not free, you burn Ornn TP, you burn Karma TP, and you might burn some other sums. And because Skarner's off the table, they don't need to worry about that. And it looks like actually that it is what they're going to do. Sejuani goes ahead and she goes to hover bottom side, so Caitlyn starts playing really safe. They get half HP on this bottom turret. And Sejuani's just going to reconverge onto the dragon. Again, playing it really safe, although they had a small window. Skarner's up now, so it could be possible that if they go straight bot, Skarner could match straight bot, and then they double TP in bot, and that play could definitely go bad for Jin Air, that's for sure. But Jin Air do decide to make it safe, but also very calculated. They get damage on bottom tower, and they go ahead and get dragon. Some teleports coming out from Rocks are going to draw some summoner spells and even kill onto Talia for that dragon. It looks like they're going to be able to counter jungle a good bit too. Hopefully they can get these wolves and that blue buff in order for them to win. They won't be getting any towers. However, there's a big problem for Rocks right now. Not only do they have almost no pressure on this bottom lane tower after they rotate, their top lane tower is almost down. So they need to force this before that top lane tower goes down. Let me just see if that could have been done any better by Jin Air. Since I wasn't really carefully looking at the rotations, but let's figure this out. Okay. Sion uses ult to get away. First of all, that's a mistake. He needs that. They should know before it even happens, okay, if we're escaping here, then what is Rocks going to do? Rocks is going to go straight bottom lane, and they're going to try and contest this bottom lane tower so that they can rotate their bot top and possibly have any kind of pressure on this Rift Herald for the next 2 minutes while it's still up. Okay. If we know that, then Sion shouldn't burn ult. Sion should exit through this corridor Sejuani should attempt to exit through this corridor as well, and everybody should converge onto bot. You do have Braum TP, so Braum can actually converge onto their tier 2 tower, recall and TP to the tower, and Talia is going to be dying anyway. So we're not going to worry about her. Jinx stays in this zone just in general to make sure that she doesn't die. But the waste of Scion ult there was probably the biggest problem for Jin Air. Because that Scion ult can really contest one of these towers. It can stop this tower push. So Rock's now going to have a little bit of a gold window to play with, which is going to be really good for their Caitlyn. Let's see if who they donate this gold to. Or I don't think they're even given an opportunity to donate. Yeah, it's going to be shared between everybody, which is not beneficial for them at all. They want that gold onto Caitlyn or Karma. It's all right on Karma because Karma's going to go Chalice, then she's going to go Ardent. But it's best on Kate because that's your primary damage, at least your primary damage per second. So what is this game state bad for Jin Air? No. Jin Air is going to immediately respond with bottom lane tower, and Jin Air already has top lane tower crumbling, which means that Jin Air can respond with 2 turrets and open up the map, and then manage pushes in the side lane with their 1-3-1 comp, so that they can take the mid lane outer tower. And during all this, they just need to contest to make sure that they don't lose top tower or mid tower. So you see Caitlyn's going top side. Just a note, in order for Rocks to continue to abuse the window that they have, first they need to get vision through this corridor. They need to get vision control through this corridor because it's the main corridor that Jin Air will be using to move between mid and top lane. And because it's the main corridor that they'll be using, it's the main corridor that Skarner wants to pincer people in with the possible bot lane that's going to be top. So if they pincer people in this corridor and they can get picks, they can abuse that and possibly get one of these towers. And if they can get one of these towers, they can continue to open the window and ignore the fire dragon that's on the table, as well as accelerate the Caitlyn that needs to be done in order for them to win the game. Banner of Command, a second item for Scion. Nice. Our melee minion is really messy. So Jin Air go ahead and they decide to match with their bottom lane top as Rocks make a quick rotation. They're taking mid. Before we comment on whatever's happening right now, which is clearly just a Talia dive, that's standard, which should be expected first of all. But Rocks sent Caitlyn top to take a wave. Then they sent Caitlyn mid to take a wave, and then they're sending Caitlyn back top. So they're trying to accelerate this Caitlyn as fast as possible since she got behind really early. But it's not going to be beneficial to them if they can't control vision in the river at all. Also, what strikes even more odd to me right now is, look at this. But look at really closely. Skarner, Lulu, and Caitlyn all pass the reward here. Ornn's bottom lane, there's not a single teleport that's able to come out from Rocks. Talia does not continue with this dive. This tower is at 200 HP. Karma's completely alone, separated from her team. You have a Sejuani, but they decide to take the safer play and they don't go with the dive, they just go with the turret. That just strikes me as really odd because it was clear that Caitlyn, Lulu, and Skarner were in vision, which means this dive was 100% secure. So even with the conditionality in place, they're just not decisive enough because I think they're afraid to make a mistake. They are afraid to overcommit, and that just strikes as a big problem because I know that they win, so that's fine. That's fine that they'd want to play select, but they also need to be decisive in order to take advantage of their enemy. That's what shows the best team. Being able to understand when your enemy is at a disadvantage and take advantage of it. So they go and decide to run straight back mid lane. We don't want to trade our mid turret for your top turret. We want to defend our mid turret, which is interesting to me because it's really hard to do this with your current team comp against 5. But they go ahead and they decide to engage. Quite successfully, actually.
Hey.
Okay. It's not that was well done by Jin Air. It's that was really poorly done by Rouse. So let's go back and notice the position. Skarner's in front, and Ornn is all the way back here. So if when this fight starts, Skarner's going to be walking back, Ornn's going to be walking forward, Karma's going to be trying to stay in the middle of the team. Lulu's trying to stay really far back, and Caitlyn's trying to stay really far back. They just want to stay on front line. Okay, Ornn moves forward. That's standard. Karma stays in the middle of the team. That's standard. What's not standard is there's no... Why are they this far forward in the first place? That's the problem.
¿Qué juego esto? No puta madre. No soy esto, no voy a jugar, no voy a jugar.
Okay, so Skarner actually goes in to deny the Scion from getting onto the back line. Why I find this is a problem is because he has no escape method.
Igual así voy a P. Las carreras continuas.
Okay, so let's think about this really hard.
No, ya perdí.
What if here's the problem. Ornn should never be over here in the first place. Ornn should always be in front. Ornn is able to jump out with his E, and his W makes him... well, they changed it so it doesn't make him like invincible anymore, but it still makes it not being able to be disabled, which is still a problem. So Ornn actually walking down here is the biggest mistake, because if Ornn stands in front here, Ornn's the primary tank. He will not get blown up like Skarner does. Skarner is able to converge onto Ornn, pull someone who ends up being too far forward, if that happens to be a conditional win. Remember, they need to analyze whether or not there's a condition that they can find where they win this fight. 3, when Ornn is in front, it's the safest, because he has flash. Skarner no flash, Karma no flash, Lulu no flash. You don't want Caitlyn to get hit. Okay, that was the mistake. It was a little hard to find. Anyway, Jin Air are capitalizing really well on that. They say, Ornn's standing in the back line. We don't know what he's doing. Let's just engage. It's possible that Ornn wanted to stand in the back line to get off an ult. There's no reason for them to get off an ult. There's no reason for him to stand so far in the back if there's no reason for them to dive in. Like the only reason for them to have Ornn stand that far back is if they took the tower down. But they didn't take the tower down. It had like 1 HP. Yeah, or 45. Still 1 hit. Rock's trying to play really safe there. Honestly, they could have just probably taken towers, left Ornn in front, tried to get Ornn to disengage and get off a good ult. and maybe they could have gotten tower and just left, or traded evenly instead of just trading badly. Because here, this is just horrible.
Voy con lo que
for
digo
Rocks.
yo, si quieres.
O podemos agarrar ese loot aquí primero.
They even lost Orin Flash.
No tenemos ese para el
They lost Orin Flash and Caitlyn heal. It looks like Jinx lost heal, but they didn't lose anything else. So there's really everything going for Jin Air here.
Teddy carry so fucking hard, okay?
hacia el noroeste.
Vale, aquí tenemos el libro.
Oh my god, voy contra un Malphite. No quiero jugar más este juego, por favor, sácame de acá.
Ya estamos viendo. Pero ahorita se
Este hijo de perro lo va a cagar y no es que el tío.
no importa que lo haga, ¿ves? Pero ahora sí, para darle todo lo que le tenga.
So Jin Air is crowding around their mid turret. They want to defend this mid turret as long as possible, which is fine. I really think that they should just rotate top and take top turret, since top turret's really low. But I guess they thought they could defend it or something. I don't really know what Jin Air is doing there, to be honest. Like that just seems all wrong to me. Like sure they leave Sion in the bottom lane and Sion's gonna get a push and then drag Ornn into the bottom lane. And, they should still have someone top like Talia. Talia can just ult mid anyway, and Talia can take that top tower and push really fast. Or at least push the wave really fast rather than actually have DPS on the turret. And because she can go up there and rotate easily with her ultimate, there's no reason for her not to, since she can still contest this dragon.
Can you still playing a piece of shit, Alice?
Jin Air looking for a fight in the mid lane so that they're able to
Mira.
contest this dragon for free. Ornn's still in the bottom lane dealing with waves. I believe that Ornn was dealing with a banner minion. If you look at Sion's cooldown here. Karma now goes top. This gives up the Wind Dragon to Jin Air. They see, okay, Karma's top. We're going to contest it, but we're going to decide not to because she has teleport and it could be dangerous. It's like, it's really weird. Like the amount of safety is really weird. Like they forced Karma to back and Karma left, and they saw Karma leave. Like they have wards in the zone. They just didn't feel like going to it, which they could burst it down really easily. Anyway, Talia ends up going top for a minute. And then they go to contest this dragon. So let's talk about how irrational Jin Air is right now. They want to defend mid tower when it has 40 HP instead of taking top tower for free. They don't send anybody top while Dragon's still 60 seconds for spawn. And that person that's sent top could be Sion, or it could be Talia, preferably Talia, since Sion isn't really going to do anything in the top lane, and you kind of want him to have a direct pathway from the bot into this mid lane. They use Sion ult mid lane as well as other important abilities in the mid lane, and then they come back to converge onto this dragon, which they get for free in a fight that they can't even win. Remember that they scale really late, but in this point of the game, between the 20-minute and the 35-minute mark, the Rocks comp is very strong. Even if they are just a tiny bit behind, that doesn't matter. They're still able to fight very effectively with the Ornn ult and the damage coming out from Karma Caitlyn. Karma Caitlyn will fall off a little bit. Well, Caitlyn won't, but Karma will. But this Jinx will never fall off. And Talia, despite not being the best late game, they don't really need Talia in order for Jinx to carry with 3 tanks in front of her. So, and again, they just went to fight over a win Drake. Like, this wasn't like, okay guys, we're going to let them converge onto Dragon, and then we're going to jump on them because we win the fight. They're converging onto a win Drake, which A, they could have taken for free, B, is not really the most important Drake, and not really beneficial to either team comp. But I guess it's kind of beneficial to Rocks because they have Scar and Karma. But it's it's just not. It's not worth fighting over, especially a fight that they know they can't win, or maybe they didn't know that they couldn't win it. I don't know. It seems really odd to me.
Tíralos y yo. Sí, esos. Vamos. Sí, sí.
Okay, so they poke and kite. They're gonna do a full reset. Everybody's gonna get their camps. Let's speed this up a little bit. Some camps are donated.
Creo que es este retrasado.
Me está ganando.
Okay, too far. Okay. Camps are donated. Everybody gets backs. Jinx is at 3 items. Caitlyn's at 2.5. Talia goes ahead and she gets blue buff. Jinx has red buff. And 3 item spike. Sion's gonna go ahead and engage. This fight they can win with Jinx.
Estoy volviendo sobre la montaña.
¿De dónde?
Yeah. Jinx 3 item spike is ridiculously strong. So they go ahead and they force a fight, they get Skarner down, they get Ornn down. Those are the 2 primary tanks. If Karma or Caitlyn try to go ahead and contest this, they'll just die in 2 hits. Karma trying to get some poke on onto the Baron here, but they have Braum, so that's not really going to be very useful. Okay, they get Baron, that's 1500 gold. They're going to go top lane, they're going to get this tower, it's another 900 gold. They're going to go mid lane, they're going to get that tower, it's another 900 gold. And then they're going to go bottom lane and probably get that bottom tower, or they're just going to continue mid and at least get one more tower. It's another 900 gold. So you're looking at an overall 4,500 Baron power play, and that might not even be the end of it.
Oh my god.
So this is really just relying on the fact that Jinx just hit a big power spike. Jinx just melts through everyone at this point. She even melts through the Ornn that comes in. And she melted through Skarner, through Lulu's shield, and Lulu ult. And remember that, I think Lulu was level 11 for that fight, maybe, which means that her ult, I think, was like 600 HP, and her E should be level 5, so it gets a 280 shield. That's not counting any AP scaling. Her E is a 0.6 AP scaling ratio, and her ult is a 0.5. I don't really know what kind of AP she has. It looks like she doesn't really have any, other than maybe some from runes, but every little bit helps when it's a shield, because there's it doesn't really take into account things like magic resist, so it's just pure raw HP. So okay, Jin Air go ahead and they decide, okay, we're running 1-3-1 with a banner minion. The banner minion has to be taken out by Caitlyn. Nobody else can do it, and it's Baron banner. So they go ahead and they send Talia bot, and they send 3 mid. Sion uses his ult to get out. They're going to get a lot more than 3 towers, 4 towers off of this. They already got mid enter. They're going to rotate onto Talia and just leave Sion in the top lane by himself. This is very well done by Jin Air. This is very aggressive, knowing what they can do, knowing what they can force. And after they force all this, they're going to have a big window of gold to deal with. They can force on the inhib here, or at least try, but it'd be better for them to just go rotate mid. They want to rotate away from these Caitlyn traps. If they're unsuccessful in this mid push, it's also beneficial for them to just rotate onto Sion and get this last in their tower, which it looks like they might do that. Sejuani's already headed toward the top side, taking some camps on the way. Now that all these towers are gone, they can go ahead and take care of the entire enemy jungle and deny every camp from the enemy. And if they do that, just attritionally, they'll win.
Oh my god.
Anyway, they already got every tower except for the inner towers, so they decide, okay, we have a big window of gold. We just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We just got 5 towers. That's 4,500 gold. Let's go spend that. Jinx just finished an item again. That was not even 4 minutes later. Not even 4 minutes after she finished her previous item, she finishes a Bloodthirster. So that's when you know the game is probably over. Talia also on an item spike right now. And no one else is on an item spike.
No está mal enfrentado.
Sejuani did just pick up Knight's Vow though, which is really cool for the Jinx. So Jinx is going to be doing hella damage. They're going to be crowding around this second Infernal Drake, which is going to really set in stone their win, because the current Infernal Drake that they have probably gives them about 2,500 golden stats. Which means if they get a second one, it's going to be 5,000. If they get 5,000 golden stats, they're going to be over 10k gold ahead. And if they're over 10k gold ahead, it's going to be almost impossible for Rocks to win. And I would say it would be impossible for Rocks to win, because they don't have a team comp that has the ability to come back from that kind of deficit, and they don't really have anything to get on the Jinx with. Like their only hope of doing anything is flash Skirner ult the Jinx and Lulu ult the Skirner, and everybody focus Jinx. But if they do that, then they might just die, and it's really difficult for them to do that anyway. With Braum on the table. So Jin Air go ahead and go bottom lane. They Talia wall to shut everybody out, and they're going to force this turret for completely free. It's already at half health. They should leave Sion in the mid lane. They should leave Sion in the mid lane so Sion can ult through this pathway and they can continue to play from this zone. And this will be their crutch zone. But it looks like they're going to return into the enemy jungle for a minute. I'm not really sure for what. I guess Braum can buy Thornmail, maybe. He just picked up Warden's Mail from a cloth armor, and he spent 700 gold. Jinx gets she bought another Zeal, so now she's at a 100% crit. I guess they just want to really seal the deal and not risk anything, which I guess is the theme of this entire series. I advocate for small amounts of risk, but the zero risk play is sometimes a little bit annoying, because zero risk play can be super good for you if the enemy team doesn't have anything that can just like split push the rat or force or just naturally win, but it also isn't very fruitful in securing games. Caitlyn front lines for a minute. Sion ult one hits Karma. That's pretty funny actually. Alright, that's game. Unless they don't want to end, they want to get next Baron just to be super safe, which could be possible. But this Jinx is absolutely unstoppable right now. Late game 100% crit, Bloodthirster. She's probably going to buy a Runance with that fucking Zeal. That would make her actually the worst. Talia wall goes ahead and shuts them off, and get mid inhibitor, or at least mid tower. A lot of poke damage coming out from her Karma. So it looks like they are going to return and try and get this Baron just to seal the deal. And remember, this is going to be about a 35-minute Baron, so you're going to be looking at about 75 AB and 40 AD on that on everyone on the Jin Air comp, which is going to be nasty. I don't believe Elder is spawning anytime soon. I think Braum just back to pick up pink wards, just so that they can make sure to control this zone. But it looks like everybody's going to back, so I don't know why Braum teleported in. That's a little weird to me. Braum's just going to stick around with Sejuani. This is a really good window for Rocks here. If they're smart, they would force Baron as fast as possible. Or just make some kind of Hail Mary play, because if they don't do anything, they're just going to lose. Alright, they pincer themselves. Ornn's pretty difficult to take down, but they're going to do it anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna have to completely disengage and can't do
¿qué te
anything.
ven?
Nadie viene, voy.
Vamos, Yareli tiró eso.
Ah,
It would be a mistake for Rox to like misposition anyway. Holy shit, she got hit by one rocket and her entire shield just disappeared.
no,
Suena peor, más bien.
That, oh
No.
my god,
no, imposible.
that's a problem.
Oye, ¿ustedes construyeron esto?
Jin Air just want to close out this game as
Vamos
cleanly as
hacia-
possible, it seems.
Sí, yo lo bloqueé. Vamos al suelo.
Uy, mi pistola. Listo, no.
They're setting up their slow pushes in both side lanes so that once they get Baron, they can just go mid and set up another 1-3-1 or possibly just go straight down any lane, depending on whether or not Rocks decide to contest this Baron, which is pretty much 100% mandatory if they want to win.
Oh my god.
Caitlyn is at a fairly strong point, but not a strong enough point to deal with the tanks.
Oh my god.
Unfortunate that
Vale, que ahora se ocupa.
they're standing in a ward. They should really they should really pink that pixel bush. I'm not really sure why they didn't. It's pretty
No,
odd.
te hay balas, ¿no?
And they have a pink on the bottom side of mid. I don't know whose that is, but they should just change it.
¿Alguno ocupa balas o está bien?
No, yo estoy bien al este.
Tulia walls off everyone. Jinx is going off Baron pretty quickly. This teleport is already too late. They had to be in the area to contest the Baron. They can't do
Me
anything
están
now.
matando ya, sí, me están matando. Ya le vení. Uy, no, yo me voy a morir.
Yeah, they managed to kill Zion, but that is not very fruitful.
¿Cuánto consiguen? ¿Tres?
Sí, sí, sí.
Teddy actually quarter health is
Ya,
serious with
dale,
one
ya,
out of
no
attack.
estás aquí conmigo, no estás.
This will be at least 2 inhibs, if not game.
Aquí dentro, nos los damos tú y por.
Dale, dale, fuego.
They're gonna try to end here. They do have the mana advantage. They have Braum and they have this Jinx who can do a whole lot. No, they don't. I think they could end there. No, wait, no, they can't. They don't have Segil. They don't have Braumel. They don't have anything.
Uy, no.
And they don't have Jinx Flash. I think if they had Jinx Flash, maybe they could end because they have Sedge Flash, which means they can take out the Caitlyn really quickly. But instead, they're gonna go for quadruple Infernal, which is a particularly more fun way to win. That's for sure.
¿Cómo?
Probably just gonna converge straight bot with this. They don't really need to buy anything. I guess Sejuani wants to buy something, and we get Rabadons on Talia, we get Thornmail on Braum. But they're kind of wasting their Baron buff by backing. They should really just go straight bot. Like they don't need that to win the game, especially with quadruple Infernal. Although I bet Talia has like 1,000 plus AP right now. It's probably like
Uy, me está dando
ridiculous.
demasiado.
¡Oh! Hay uno atrás, hay uno atrás.
¿Cómo atrás?
¡Puta madre!
Vale.
Okay, so Rock set up 5 traps mid.
Por todos
Ah,
lados.
ok, una pregunta nada más. Bueno, no
We only have a minute and a half
dije
left in this
pregunté.
Uy, estoy encerrado.
Ahora,
If this game goes like a much longer, I'm gonna be absolutely shocked.
regresa la vida.
Ya, Reben, ayúdame, por favor.
Deja
Like
mi
if
güey.
there's a
Oh
second,
my
if
God,
there's a
güey.
second
Please,
Elder
like,
Dragon,
listen,
I'll be shocked because I know the game can end right now. They're 10k gold up. They have quadruple fire
No,
dragon.
en serio.
Like they can just
No
3
puedo salir de la pared.
Ya sé la detalle, hermano.
Voy, ¿dónde estás? Mira, aquí tengo uno conmigo.
They didn't manage to push well in the bottom lane. This should be a slow push. It looks like Talia's gonna go set it up now.
Ya,
but,
estoy aquí peleando,
like,
¿dónde estás?
that's still a mistake. They should have had that already done. Yeah, someone they should have sent everyone to deal with that banner minion immediately.
Ya le vení, me dio.
That's really going to slow them down. That loses their entire Baron buff because they weren't ready for that. If they all just went straight bottom lane, they wouldn't have to deal with that. Because they I'm sure they saw that Baron minion when it was all the way back at the base here. Or not the Baron minion, the banner minion. So that was definitely a mistake by Jin Air.
Ya le aplicando la oriciña, quedándose luteando.
Por dos.
They only have 30 seconds on this quadruple fire though, so they need to force now.
No.
They do have the push in bottom lane now. They have the push in mid. It looks like they're gonna force. They caught Skarner out. Skarner has to flash. They're still playing the super safe
Voy a tirar
with quadruple fire dragon on Jinx.
Güey, de ayer jugamos.
Pretty,
¿Qué?
Ayer fue que jugamos.
Sí.
pretty
pues
sure
ya lo
Jinx
vi.
like melts through tanks
Uy,
with
ya, está
quadruple
completa el
fire.
cocodrilo.
Assuming that she has any kind of armor
Ya,
pen.
las alas de Ángel son
Not like there are
separadas y
many
es
tanks
como
on rocks.
Es como una mochila, creo, igual.
Jerry, ¿cuándo vas a comprar el Battle Pass? ¿Cuándo vas a comprar el Battle Pass? O sea, ¿me lo ibas a comprar tú y yo y te lo pagaba?
Oh my god, hijo de Dios.
Págamelo ahorita y luego-
See, if they forced while they had Baron and Elder, like, it wouldn't have gone that big.
Entonces, ¿cómo quedaste?
Like, sure, it still went well. Like, they still killed Skarner and got out alive. But there was Jinx Flash, which is arguably really important for this win. So we're gonna go ahead and we're actually gonna skip forward. Whoa, 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 whoa! What do they do here? They have Scion teleport back in, go straight back for this inhibitor 5v4.
Ah, puta. Siempre me dicen, mañana.
I didn't realize Scion had teleport.
Y ahí está
But this should be ending relatively
No
soon.
tengo absolutamente
That was a particularly poor wormhole. In my experience,
Ah, sí, ese es su Petro.
it's one of the easier skill shots to hit in the game.
Dale, me compré la entrada para.
Alright, another Talia wall to separate.
La final.
Try to force this turret. Lots of damage onto
¿Para qué? Para la final de LoL,
Caitlyn.
de la LL.
And Caitlyn's low on
La-
mana,
la
she can't
entrada
contest
para la
this.
final de
So they're
la
gonna go force
LL.
this turret for free. Once they get third in
No,
it,
cuesta 600 pesos.
they can just do whatever they want.
No, él
Pues,
es
espera que lo pienso, 600 pesos está caro, son 25 dólares. Claro, 30 dólares.
Sí,
No,
está-
tampoco.
Está bien caro.
No, tampoco. Está muy caro. La verdad, yo tengo
Vamos para el otro.
Oh, madre.
They're just waiting for super minions to enter the base from other sides. They don't have to
Well,
force
that-
5v5 because it's definitely much easier to force 5v4 or 5v3. So they're just being patient about it, and they're not playing on any timers
Describió
right
creo que en
now.
el Discord, pero
Looks like they found their conditional fight though. Let's actually watch that again. Let me see what happened there. I think maybe Rock split up too much.
Lo maté.
Yo caigo aquí por este costo.
Also remember, I pointed out, Caitlyn has no mana here. She does not have enough mana for a fight. She Qs, she doesn't have enough for E, which is arguably extremely important. Yeah, Caitlyn moves too far forward, they get Sejuani onto Karma, and then they just converge directly onto Skarner, who arguably isn't squishy because he's Skarner, not a true tank. Sejuani doesn't really need to worry about the damage she's just taken. She has Warmogs. And now they can force the end. But I'm not sure if they will.
Voy todo a mi línea, a mi... ¿Cómo cuál?
See, at this point, they may wait for the next Baron.
Yo nada más abrí un cofre, literal.
Ah, bueno, el canon es mío.
Like, they have two dead, but they don't have any way to get on this. Wait, does Sejuani not have Warmogs? I usually assume that Sejuani buys Warmogs just because it's fairly good on her, but no, she does not. Okay, if she had Warmogs there, I think they could have ended, because she would have just been full health again, ready to go in. But she didn't have Warmogs, so they're just gonna go back.
se llama
They're gonna go
Scar.
back to this
Se llama Scar.
Baron.
Se ve-
Enemy has 3 inhibs down, they can't contest the
Sí,
Baron.
obvio, de cariño.
This is a true 40-minute Baron, 88 AP,
Se le gusta cuando
40
estoy enojado.
AD, for every single person in the team. Can't lose a fight. Although preferably that they can kill this Caitlyn, that they try to. Now that she has no sums, it will be a
¿Ves
little
cuando
bit
estoy
easier.
enojado? ¿Ves?
But really they just need to force down 3 lanes. They also have Baron Banner, so they're gonna have Baron Banner, which is gonna be really nice for taking
What?
down
¿Me
turrets.
mataron?
¿Dónde estás?
What?
They don't even really have to fight, they just have to walk 3 waves into the enemy turrets, put on 1 banner, and then just watch them
Comprando
win.
eternidad y cuando él
Looks like they're gonna let the side lanes slow push and quick push the mid lane to see if they can get all 3 lanes to crash at the same time. That's gonna be pretty
Está bien,
nice.
mira, estoy tratando. Son dos.
Ok.
Tres,
Oye,
no,
ya
ya no
lo
morí.
¿Lo nadamos ya? Nos relajamos,
Date la
nos
llave,
relajamos.
It looks like
Aquí,
Caitlyn
está aquí.
is
Ya,
doing
ya,
with the
ya,
super
ya,
minions
ya, ya.
very, very well.
Ahí
Of course,
está,
she actually is a 6-item
Mátalo,
Caitlyn right
mátalo,
now,
mátalo.
with Molten
You know
Edge.
what?
She dropped boots in order for DPS, because that's really the only win condition that they have is Caitlyn being able to do whatever she wants.
Sí, ya vi, ya vi, ya
Me
vi.
morí.
Elder's up in 40 seconds, so that might be happening. But Talia Wall's going to go ahead and cut them off. They're going to try
Güey,
and
está muy ruda.
force as much as they can right now. One Jinx auto attack onto a turret did about 20%
No, me va a
of his
matar de
HP,
nuevo.
but no, not able to.
Güey, los estoy
cut.
bajando, ayúdame. Está un hit, está un hit. El que queda está un hit. Baje. Uy.
Surprised that they don't immediately start walking
Oh my
towards
God.
the Elder Drake, which is
Me
their
estoy curando con los
easiest way to win, and it's about to spawn.
Güey. No, ya los maté, o sea.
Comes the Ornal. Skarner's going to try and look for his conditional win here. Here's the flash
Uy, no,
onto Jinx, and he gets blown up almost immediately. So they're just going to force the fight as hard as they can. They don't need that Elder. Jinx molting through the tanks. Caitlyn not going to be able to take down 3 tanks as fast as she can, or as fast as she needs to, since she's only 1 carry. And Jin Air get the reverse sweep to 1. Pretty impressive series in regards to patience,
No, me
but
mató
not a
con
very
una
impressive
pistolita para
series in
ganarlo.
regards to actual gameplay. When I look at LCK and what I expect. The series really should have involved a lot more
Pero él se la dio con la pistolita.
quick decision making and calculated decision making. Whereas I pointed at a lot of opportunities for both teams to make plays, and they just decided not to make them, even though there was really almost no risk involved.
Hoy no sé qué
But
Me gusta cómo baila.
anyway, thank you for
Ajá.
watching. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Pero baila demasiado 10 de 10.